The anxiety's origin, revealing myths and problems.
Almost everyone indulges regularly in their innate preference for sweets. Hardly anyone wants to do without it. Nevertheless, we try to live healthier, but this trend towards a healthier lifestyle is also evident in society. You feel best when you can eat plenty of sweets without feeling guilty. Therefore, more and more low-calorie alternatives and sweeteners are being used. But is this shortcut into a healthier diet without risk? Many people are afraid of it due to long-term consequences like depression, tumors, and premature birth, or eye disease and increased appetite. If that is not enough, a possible dependence on the substance adds to it, simply by exchanging the cola with the zero-calorie alternative, saving all the calories and still getting full pleasure. That sounds too good to be true. Mainly, aspartame is viewed as the problem. Oftentimes, headlines and articles in media create this anxiety. Would you drink a glass of methanol?
Absolutely not. That sounds pretty unhealthy.
Crystal clear. No, 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 no. Every reasonable person would say thank you, but no thank you. Then why do so many products contain aspartame? And even worse, why is it offered as the healthier alternative? In the additives regulations, the European Union has permitted aspartame, a sulfam K, cyclamat, saccharin, dalmatin, sucralose, neohase, pyridine, dihydrocolon, stevia, and neodym as sweeteners in the food, medical, and beauty industry.
What is aspartame?
It is a white, odorless powder 200 times more potent in sweetness than sucrose and hence sugar. It is insoluble in oil, fat, and alcohol, and it is barely soluble in water. Our body metabolizes aspartame into three components: aspartic acid, methanol, and phenylalanine L. We will focus on this later.
This all doesn't sound very healthy after all. Where does this stuff actually come from?
What's the story behind aspartame?
In 1965, James Charles Schlatter first discovered aspartame by coincidence when working for the G.D. Searle and Company. He was searching for a medicament against tumors. During the course of his experiments, he accidentally licked his finger and was surprised by the sweet flavor.
So you were telling me this serious goof discovered the healthy sugar alternative?
Yes, that's how aspartame was discovered by coincidence, but it still took until the beginning of the 80s till it was approved for use by the U.S. food industry. The first products with aspartame made it to the German market in 1990.
The first product containing aspartame was tafelsusi, which was sold in French pharmacies in 1979. In 1981, the FDA then allowed the use of aspartame in the US for dry products, and 2 years later, also in carbonated drinks. Furthermore, aspartame was sold as NutraSweet in powder form as 1 gram packets. The FDA and universities associated for research and education in pathology conducted multiple independent studies which allowed the usage of aspartame. After the FDA had confirmed the safety of the sweetener 26 times, it was approved as a general sweetener in the US.
A neurotoxin used by the CIA.
The CIA used it as some sort of poison, right?
That's false. There are rumors that aspartame was used by the CIA as a neurotoxin. These rumors were based on the CIA allegedly listing aspartame as a neurotoxin. However, all sources contain the same unconfirmed language. There was no evidence to confirm these rumors.
Okay, I get it, but why is this substance allowed in the food industry?
How did aspartame find its way in the food industry?
Actually, it should be sold as a cause for cancer, fattener, or lethal poison. Conspiracy theorists say aspartame is exactly this. It would be best to print repulsive images of the long-term effects of aspartame consumption on the package like it's done for cigarettes.
This would be the responsible action, right?
Haha, joke's on you. More dangerous than the methanol in products sweetened with aspartame is the methanol in fruit and vegetable juices. But fruit and vegetable juice contain much more of this so-called poison, so the EFSA recommends a maximum of 40 milligrams aspartame per kilo body weight in 1 day, so you don't metabolize too much aspartame down to methanol. To reach this amount, a normal weight person would have to drink light soda by the gallon in the morning, through the day, and in the evening. So according to the EFSA, even a 20-kilogram child can drink 1.5 liters of lemonade sweetened with aspartam per day without reaching this threshold.
But this could also be misunderstood as a recommendation for action. Well, okay, it is not directly harmful, but doesn't the sweet taste cause even more cravings?
Effect on your brain.
All studies that conducted an evaluation of the effect of aspartam and other sweeteners on memory and on oxidative stress in the brain showed a disease-promoting effect. A review by regulatory agencies is still pending. In the study by Ayaswamy and Rathinasamy, Worcester albino rats were fed 75 milligrams of aspartame per kilo body weight and tested for possible resulting oxidative stress and liver damage. In the evaluation, significantly more enzymes that indicate liver cell damage were found in Group 2, and in the control group, the level of antioxidants that bind free radicals dropped. As a reason for these results, the researchers concluded increased methanol levels in the blood of the rats with aspartam consumption. The results show a dose dependence for impairment through aspartam. The more aspartam was given, the more malondialdehydes and nitric oxide and the less glutathione and glucose were found in the brain. In comparison, in earlier studies prior to 2005 with rhesus monkeys that were given aspartam for a longer period of 270 days and at higher concentrations of 1,000, 2,000 and 3,000 milligrams per kilo, no effect on memory performance was found. In this study, the monkeys had to distinguish between 2D and 3D objects and had to identify an object that did not match a series of identical objects.
This sounds nearly sadistic. On the one hand, recommended for humans to consume only up to 40 milligrams of aspartame per kilo of body weight, and, on the other hand, administering almost 100 times the dose in animal testing.
Fattening ingredients.
If you eat sweet-flavoured and tasting foods or drinks, sugar or sweetening molecules bind the receptors of the G protein on the microvilli surface of your tongue. The stimulus is thereby converted from a chemical signal into an electrical signal and then transmitted to the brain. That's how sweet taste is perceived. Sweeteners are compounds that can also bind to the described G protein. Therefore, they can be used as a sugar substitute.
It remains controversial whether the sweetener stimulates the appetite, which makes you fatter in the long run, or it is suitable as a diet supplement. Oftentimes, though, the yo-yo effect is misinterpreted because diets do not work. However, more importantly, it is about constantly trying to make better nutritional choices. For a healthy diet, in the long run, you should change your diet permanently and, not only then when you are too fat to fit your own pants. Overall, you should try keeping an average calorie consumption over the course of the week. In order not to have to limit yourself too much, you can easily save calories with the beverages, and therefore, water is the best choice.
Okay, but sweet lemonade is much easier to drink than just plain boring water.
That's true, but you should not satisfy your fluid needs with soda, regardless of the suspected harm of aspartam. With sweet beverages, you can satisfy the craving for sweets while maintaining a healthy diet. The need for an intense taste like the one of sugar can be easily replaced with low-calorie alternatives containing aspartam. However, it should be undisputed that you do not live a healthier life just because you drink 2 liters of zero products with your fast food XXL menu.
On average, a German person consumes about 100 grams of sugar a day, which corresponds to a calorie content of 200 up to 400 calories per day, and that's a lot.
And this is the part where you can save some calories. For example, even if you only save 75 cal with a zero drink, that's still 525 cal over the course of a week, just by replacing the 2 glasses of regular soda with light soda. With this in mind, you can easily build a better diet.
This sounds awesome, but I also heard that aspartam is addictive.
Is aspartam addictive?
Addiction can be broadly defined as a malfunction of the reward system in your brain. By taking a substance like nicotine or engaging in an activity like gambling, the brain can send messenger substances such as dopamine, which give us a feeling of euphoria and well-being. The connection between an activity and the resulting feeling of happiness is triggered in the brain very quickly. In turn, a growing need forms to achieve this state of mind again. Aspartam consists of three components: aspartic acid, phenylalanine, and methanol. Neither aspartic acid nor phenylalanine are addictive because they don't communicate with the reward center in the brain. They are quickly and completely metabolized in your guts, and our body can then use them to build new proteins or generate energy. Both substances are consumed in significantly higher amounts through other foods. For example, compared to a glass of Diet Coca-Cola, a glass of low-fat whole milk contains about 6 times the dose of phenylalanine and 13 times the dose of aspartic acid.
This is getting better and better, but tell me something about the breakdown products, especially methanol. What happens to those? Aren't there amounts deposited in the brain?
Mostly, methanol is discussed.
There is no scientific study that proves a connection between aspartam, its 3 metabolites, and damage to health. Even though the metabolized products are indeed harmful, there is absolutely no differentiation here. In natural foods, methanol occurs in significantly higher doses. After consumption of a glass of tomato juice, 4 times the amount of methanol can be found in the body compared to drinking a glass of zero cola, and it only becomes toxic starting with a dose of 200 to 500 milligrams of methanol per kilo body weight.
The human body itself produces 300 to 1200 milligrams of methanol every day. This is why methanol occurs naturally in our blood, saliva, and breath. Notably, scientists see the main reason for possible health damage from aspartam in its component methanol and its metabolite formaldehyde. However, as previously mentioned, many foods, such as fruits and vegetables, naturally contain greater amounts of methanol than could ever be taken in by aspartam consumption.
Okay. Also, for example, there is significantly more methanol in red wine than in sweetened lemonade.
The second metabolite is aspartic acid.
Aspartic acid, a non-essential amino acid produced by the body itself. The aspartam molecule consists of 40% aspartic acid. Examples of natural sources are eggs, meat, cheese, or fish, cereals, and asparagus, fruit, and milk. L-aspartic acid promotes a stable metabolism and can therefore be used as treatment against depression and fatigue. But too much L-aspartic acid can cause the brain to produce free radicals that destroy the cell's DNA, RNA, proteins, or lipids.
But you would have to drink a whole lot for that.
Phenylalanine.
The third metabolite, phenylalanine, can indeed be harmful, but only to people with phenylketonuria. With this metabolic disease, the body cannot break down this substance because an enzyme is missing. An adult person needs 1 to 2 grams of this essential amino acid. The notification contains a source of phenylalanine on products sweetened with aspartam is indeed a piece of essential information, but only for the very small population of people suffering from the genetic metabolic disorder phenylketonuria. This information has no meaning for all other consumers.
Yes, but this other disease you get from sugar is said to be even worse with aspartam.
Risk of diabetes.
These sweeteners have no effect on insulin levels and therefore do not trigger a glycemic reaction. They are therefore energy-free for the human organism. For this reason, light products are particularly suitable for diabetes patients.
Also, food is not fundamentally unhealthy, like the general misconception on genetically modified vegetables. Just like genetically modified wheat doesn't make you fat and stupid.
Okay, I get it now.
Some hard facts.
The recommended dose for aspartam is 40 milligrams per kilo of body weight. 600 milligrams per liter are permitted for foods on the German market, and over 6,000 foods contain sugar substitutes. To put it in context, cola has 120 milligrams per liter.
Another advantage of artificial sweeteners is that they have a sweetening potency 10 up to 13,000 times higher than normal sugar, so only milligram amounts are required to achieve the same sweetening potency as sucrose. A sweet taste can therefore be achieved even without the use of sugar in food, because only small amounts of this sweetener are required. Its use in the food industry is cheaper than sugar.
Also, before a food additive is approved, various committees and authorities investigate its safety. This is done by the World Health Organization, or short, the WHO, and also by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the FAO, and the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, the European Food Safety Authority. Then there is also the EFSA and the Federal Institute for Risk Assessment, called the BFR.
The Union of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Health Organization build an expert committee for food additives. This was established by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Health Organization in September 1955 in Geneva.
And what are all the organizations supposed to tell me?
It's a fact that an international committee of scientific experts evaluates the safety of food.
Studies on sweeteners and in particular on aspartam, which were published from 2005 onwards, showed some health risks from the consumption of aspartam or other sweeteners. However, these results and conclusions were not confirmed in the studies reviewed by the authorities due to methodological deficiencies. Some of the studies have not yet been evaluated by the safety authority.
Well, there is a little uncertainty, but would we be shocked if aspartam was actually the next big poison? Our body should be able to manage a little bit of aspartam compared to the many other everyday toxins that we consider normal.
If that were so, if you are unsure, you might want to consider Theophrastus Bombast von Hohenheim. The doctor better known under the name of Paracelsus already knew in the 16th century Deuces sola venenum facit. In other words, alone, the quantity makes the poison.
Effects on the liver and kidneys?
The studies examining possible liver and kidney damage showed statistically significant adverse effects from sweeteners. Again, there are no governmental evaluations. However, there is a clear dose dependency from which can be concluded that there are no health risks when following the acceptable daily intake value.
Let's make an absurd example calculation.
There is a high probability that health issues can occur if large amounts of sweeteners such as aspartame or any chemical substances are ingested. In order to prevent a health hazard, the AD value was determined by the authorities who determined the maximum limits and restrictions for safe use in food. The acceptable daily intake value of aspartam is 40-50 milligrams per kilo body weight.
If you wanted to drink the maximum amount, a 65-kilogram weighing person would have to consume 2,600 milligrams aspartam per day. Light and zero cola variations contain around about 130 milligrams per liter. That means this person would have to drink 20 liters of zero cola a day. In 20 liters of cola with sugar, there are 1,800 grams of sugar, which is well over 1,500 kilocalories. However, one should not forget the fact that high doses of methanol are toxic.
But that's also logical. Also, at the very least, after the second bottle of cola, I usually don't feel like it anymore. After all, no one denies that huge amounts of drinks sweetened with sugar are unhealthy.
Since the discovery of the artificial sweetener, already more than 200 studies on possible health risks from aspartam consumption have been carried out. Committees and scientific institutions worldwide have also repeatedly and scientifically confirmed the safety of aspartam and the resulting use in over 6,000 products in the food and pharmaceutical industry. These institutions review and evaluate relevant studies on the basis of the methodology used, the cohort groups involved, the statistical evaluations carried out, and the resulting conclusions. At the same time, these authorities consider results from previous studies. The result of these considerations is either a confirmation of the previously established acceptable daily intake values, or, upon justification, the adjustment of the acceptable daily intake values for the food industry.
Overall, one can say that if you replace conventional products with zero and light variants, you will by far not reach the dose considered as critical. Sweeteners can really help with weight loss and healthier living, regardless of whether it's a banana instead of chocolate or zero cola over regular cola. With these decisions, you can easily lower the average calorie consumption throughout the week.